Hey, Jewel. Sorry about the other day. I've been preparing for your launch a long time. But when your ship finally left Earth, well, I haven't cried that hard since your mother died. I know I can't talk to you directly since you're already in cryosleep, and even if I could, the communication lag would just get worse the farther you got from Earth. So I thought, why not record some messages and send them to you for when you woke up? Consider them half official, half private. Well, guess your old dad can't mope around forever. We've got lots of work to do. Research to make sure the Far Eden project succeeds. I'm going to do all I can to support you and the other heroes on that ship. And that includes Mag, who I hope is sleeping close beside you. Until next time. Love you, kiddo. When the Mandate discovered Far Eden, they called it a new horizon for humanity. But all I knew was that it would be the place that would take my daughter away from me. Don't get me wrong, Jewel. I was so proud watching you compete to become a member of the Far Eden team, and I knew you leaving was partly my fault. Since you were little, seemed all we did was talk about space, about how incredible it would be to explore other worlds. And you're so much like your mother. Brave, kind, a little reckless. Earth was too small for her. And, I guess, too small for you too. What makes me happy is that we'll be able to work together, even though we'll be far apart, to test my new invention, the ReCore AI. If we succeed, we won't just have built humanity a new home. We'll have revolutionized the relationship between humans and artificial life. Jewel, you'll be happy to know that I'm keeping up our tradition of Friday movie night, although without you here, the living room is a mess. I really need to pick up all this popcorn and pizza and whatever that is. The old monster and sci-fi movies are the best, don't you think? Remember Frankenstein, 2001? I always wondered, why do we think that our creations will inevitably turn against us? Kind of crazy. But those movies had a big influence on my research. I thought, what would it take to make artificial intelligence more human? Would we have to take out a human brain and put it in a robot head? All kidding aside, the ReCore AI I designed for the Mandate is pretty revolutionary. Maybe they'll make a movie about it someday. One with a happy ending, of course. Those evil robots in the movies we used to watch would always say, "Humans are imperfect and dangerous. They must be destroyed." But that makes no sense. I mean, the robots are imperfect too, right? Otherwise, why would they attack us? What I mean is, perfection. It's the wrong goal. What really matters is balance. So, when I started to design the AI for the cores, I didn't try to make a single perfect intelligence. Instead, I designed 3 separate personalities. A brave one, a fearful one, and a cheerful one. And to keep them straight, because you know how messy I can be, I gave them different colors. Red, yellow, blue. And my hope was that, together, these personalities would form a balanced group. They wouldn't be perfect, but they wouldn't try to destroy us either. Balanced or not, the cores would be pretty worthless if they just sat around all day. I needed to pair them with another invention, something that would turn them into the construction force Far Eden needed. It turns out, the personality data at the heart of each core was really flexible. They quickly adapted to the frames another Mandate scientist had designed. Combine my cores with his frames, and bingo. That's how the Corebots were born. First one we made was the K9 type. Great for search and survey. Always eager to blaze a trail into the unknown. With its strength and size, the AP3 Corebot is perfect for excavation and clearing obstacles. The SPDR, nothing better for doing tricky, high-altitude work. For material and personnel transport, the T8NK can't be beat. And the FL1R is the ideal surveillance platform. I know you have all this information in your crawler's database, but the main thing to remember is the core AI's flexibility doesn't just mean they can adapt to different frames. They also form strong bonds with any human they meet. Like I said, you can't have a core bot without a frame. And the scientist who invented the frame is, of course, your mission leader and chief scientist, Dr. Julius Roldan. Did I ever tell you how he and I met? It was the first mandate conference for all the research groups around the world working on the Dust Devil crisis. There were hundreds of people there, and Julius just happened to sit next to me. He told me he liked my Robbie the Robot t-shirt. And then he cracked a crazy joke about robotics researchers and their armies of killer robots. He was outspoken, ambitious, the exact opposite of me. I felt like a geek hanging out with a rock star. But ever since that day, Julius was more than my colleague. He was my friend. Dust Devil. When your mom got infected, she wasn't afraid of dying. She was only afraid of leaving you. Now, I told her not to worry, that even if something happened to me, I'd make sure you had someone to look after you. And that someone was Mac, the dog you always wanted, just without any fur to trigger my allergies. Your mom, her concern was the catalyst for my core research. Sometimes your own desire to do something isn't enough. You need something to push you. And now there's another push coming. News broke today of a Dust Devil outbreak. The first one in over a decade. I might have to take a break from these messages for a while, Jewel. But things are going to be busy. Give Mac a hug for me. Hey, kiddo. Sorry for the delay. We're all working around the clock. But I'm proud to say the mandate teams are really pulling together. We all know that the work we do today will decide if there's going to be a tomorrow for millions of people all around the world. New antibiotics are going into trials all the time. Working so fast, there's the risk of side effects. But the alternative is even worse. I have no idea how many people have died from the outbreaks. Information is tight now, even for the mandate employees. I just hope the council doesn't go overboard. We're never going to make progress if we stop trusting each other. Besides, they can't hide the fact that they're building more ARC evacuation ships. Just hope it doesn't cause a panic. They say necessity is the mother of invention, and do I ever feel the need to come up with a breakthrough now? A flash of genius would be nice, but I'll settle for madness. I wonder if this is how Dr. Frankenstein felt, waiting for lightning to strike. The panic I was worried about, it's happening, Jewel. And it's bringing out the worst in us. It's like the final act of all those sci-fi movies we used to watch. Dust Devil's mutation rate has increased. It's changing too fast for the drugs to keep up. The mandate is starting to shut down facilities, and the staff members are all scrambling to make sure they've got seats on the evacuation ships. Jewel, when your team left Earth, you were heroes. But the mandate leadership, they're cowards. We're the ones who need to stand and fight, not run away. At least that's what I told them, right before they shut down my lab. So, I'm back home now. Out in our garage, right where I started my core research in the first place. I'm going to do all I can to save the people who don't have a place on the ships. What kind of mad scientist would I be if I didn't? I guess this is how it feels to be the last human being on Earth. Radio, TV, the internet. Most communication channels are down. Which isn't all bad. At least there are no more internet trolls to worry about. The truth is, Jewel, I had to call in my last favor with the Mandate comms team to get this message to you. But that breakthrough I needed, it happened. And I'm sending the results to the evacuation fleet along with this message. I can't say more about it. I don't know who I can trust. Maybe not even Julius. While this message makes its way to you across the vast depths of space, I'll be here, in the garage. I finally have time to sort through all my junk, toss things away. But the memories I'll keep. Your mom bringing me coffee after I stayed out here all night. You, borrowing my tools, trying to build your own movie monsters. I miss those days so much. But it's time for me to say goodbye to this world, Jewel. Hopefully find my way to another one. Whatever happens, never forget how proud I am of you. I'll always be there. I promise. Love, Dad.
Good morning, Dr. Roldan. How are you feeling? This is Communications Director Natalie Bright, Houston Mission Control. Unfortunately, this is an unscheduled transmission. I'm sure you can see that you have not reached Far Eden. In fact, you're still technically inside the Sol system. But we noticed some discrepancies in one of the engine status reports and wanted to make sure it was nothing serious. As you know, any errors in reports prepared by Corebot crew members need to be addressed by the mission commander, which, in this case, is you. Sorry to have interrupted your sleep with an emergency alarm, but I must insist you send me an updated status report within 12 hours ship time. I'll be overseeing all Far Eden mission comms as we work through this issue. I hope we can start things off on the right foot. Dr. Roldan, I received your investigation report. There were 16 items that were incompatible with program guidelines. You may think these are minor issues, but I assure you that my superiors do not. Please submit an amended report by the end of your next 12-hour shift. And just a friendly word of advice, one professional to another. You have a tendency to assume that Corebots are 100% reliable. Indeed, it may prove to be the case that the engine trouble had nothing to do with the Corebot malfunction, but they are just machines, and machines can break. Please don't let pride for your creations affect your scientific objectivity. I don't pretend to understand the Corebots as well as you do, but I do know the mandate. And the last thing either of us need at the start of this mission is to arouse unnecessary suspicion. Communications Director Bright, over and out. It's unfortunate that you have decided to ignore my request. I admit I didn't expect any thanks for my advice. But with all due respect, Dr. Roldan, you are even more stubborn than your file suggests. After all the discrepancies we've observed, are you really going to allow the same Corebot that almost destroyed the engine to try and repair it? As I have told you repeatedly, mission protocol clearly states that all repairs to critical components must be overseen by human personnel. I'm well aware that conditions inside the engine pod are dangerous, and I admire your desire to safeguard the human members of your crew. But leaving this work up to a Corebot risks mission failure. You're traveling at near light speed in a sophisticated spaceship, not cruising down the highway in your car. If something goes wrong, I will not be held responsible. Do you understand? I assume you've gotten it by now. The letter of apology from my superiors for me questioning your authority. I have to attend a disciplinary hearing next week. Unlike you, I'm not millions of kilometers from Earth. They can't remove you from your ship even if they wanted to, but they won't hesitate to fire me. I'm not mission critical. I won't waste my time asking you to put in a good word on my behalf, even though every action I took was for the safety of you and your crew. When I'm gone, you can ignore the rules as much as you like. Land on Far Eden, declare a special kingdom for you and your core bots, and never talk to Earth again. What do I care? Best of luck to you and this Victor Corebot who made the repair. You won't hear from me again. Dr. Roldan, we verified the results of the engine test. All systems are nominal. I know you're about to go back into cryosleep, but before you do, I just wanted to say thank you. I never expected you to speak to my superiors on my behalf. Please accept my apology for the tone of my last message. What you and your core bots did was incredibly brave. It's just, the last 2 weeks have been very stressful for me. Half the team in Cape Canaveral was down with pneumonia, which put extra pressure on us. With any luck, the next 24 years of this mission will be smooth sailing. Hopefully, I'll just sit here, bored out of my mind, as you finish an uneventful trip to Far Eden. Who knows, maybe the next time we talk, I'll be married with children, maybe even grandchildren. Stranger things have happened. In any event, best of luck. And if there's any way I can repay you for your kindness, just let me know. It's been 16 months since our last communication. Assuming all continues to go well with your voyage, it'll be more than 2 decades before you get this message. Still no change in my love life, I'm afraid. I don't think being a Mandate employee is the best way to meet people. At least not people who care about anything other than saving the world. But anyhow, about that favor you asked me. Turns out there is something to report. The epidemic on the East Coast wasn't pneumonia. It was some sort of precursor to Dust Devil. I don't know all the details, but I do know that the Mandate was able to quarantine most of the infected individuals. Things are contained for now, but the Mandate leadership is going into crisis mode. And I can't help feeling that things are even worse than they've let on. Dr. Roldan, it's Natalie Bright. I trust you were able to decrypt this message? I needed to take precautions if I wanted to keep you in the loop like I promised. The Mandate is being even more cautious with communications now. And so far they've succeeded. Most people don't know anything. Or maybe they're just distracted by the election? I personally can't stand to watch the news anymore. All those lying politicians, they have to know the truth about what's going on. There are rumors all over the net about more outbreaks, if you know how to look past the gossip and celebrity news. Maybe people just don't want to hear the truth. Or maybe the Mandate is just too good at controlling the message. I've heard from other directors that antibacterial drug trials are underway. They're asking for volunteers. Mandate staff only. I think I'll sign up. Who knows? Maybe I'll meet someone interesting. 9 months later, and I'm afraid things are much worse. The Mandate's effort to keep things under wraps has failed. You can't hide the fact that tens of thousands of people are locked in quarantine, or that most of the airports have closed. To make things worse, someone leaked classified data from the first outbreak 20 years ago. It proves that Dust Devil isn't just an airborne disease, but that some strains are able to stay alive indefinitely in an airborne state. This means that the safe zones are pointless. People are starting to panic. They're rushing new drugs into testing, but the bacteria mutates faster than we can keep up. And there's one more piece of bad news. One of those lying politicians I told you about? He lost the election, but he just got appointed to the Mandate Governing Council. I used to feel sorry for you, Dr. Roldan. Sorry that your mission was taking you so far from home. But everyone's leaving home now. People are even trying to escape to Antarctica. They think that Dust Devil won't be able to survive there. But there's evidence that it came from deep ice at the poles, that the bacteria had been lurking there for hundreds of millions of years, and that global warming released it. If that's true, then lots of people are making a very bad choice. It's hard to say with all the communication failure, but the Mandate thinks about a third of the people on Earth have died. They're building evacuation ships as quickly as they can, but seats are limited and approval goes directly through the governing council. I have a copy of the latest list of evacuees. Is my name on it? Of course not. How can they let someone who's infected come on board? I just watched the last evacuation ship lift off. But I'll never give up as long as I have hope. The few people left at Mandate Mission Control are all just like me. Sick, wishing for a miracle. Do you remember Dr. Thomas Adams? He sent an open letter to the governing council. Called them all cowards, if you can believe it. He lost his lab, but he's still fighting to find some kind of solution. I've set a delay on this message. It will transmit 1 year from today unless someone is here to stop it. If you were hearing my voice now, then Earth is lost. Sometimes I close my eyes and think about Far Eden. I think of you waking up and stepping into paradise, into a garden world where there's no disease, no more pain. I want to be here to get your first transmission, to catch a glimpse of that world on my screens. Just to know you made it. To know there's still hope for us all.
This is Dr. Julius Roldan, Chief Scientist and Far Eden Project Leader. Today is April 17th, 2053, the first day of my first shift on the surface of the planet. All the other teams landed safely and are sleeping in their crawlers. Forecasts predict a break in the storms a few days from now, so I should be able to receive transmissions from Mandate Mission Control. Of course, they'll be decades old due to the distance between Earth and Far Eden, but I'll take any news I can get. In the meantime, I have plenty to do. First, see how many of the Corebot advanced units are operational. Mankind has a whole new world to build, and we can't do it on our own. April 29th, 2053. It took me and Victor a week to reach the landing site for the supply vehicles. We had to route our crawler around a rockfall that wasn't on any of the surveys. But most of the Corebots are in fine condition, and the Prime Core is safe, thank God. We'd never be able to terraform this planet without it. In 200 years, Far Eden will have blue skies, water, trees. It will be a paradise, like Earth before Dust Devil. Victor will be overseeing construction of the first stage facilities while I get the Prime Core online. If he and the other Corebots continue to perform as well as I designed them, I might not need to wake any of the other humans for this shift. June 8th, 2053. The first transmissions came through, and the news from Earth. It's too terrible for words. During our voyage to Far Eden, Dust Devil broke containment, raced across the globe. The Mandate was able to launch the last of the evacuation ships, but everyone left behind. Billions of lives. Gone. How do I tell the other teams? Tell them that everyone they ever loved is dead? That they're the only ones left? No, I can't. Not now. There are only a few more days in my shift. I'll sleep. Tell them next time I wake. After all, what difference will 30 years make? Earth will still be a tomb. December 2083. It was good to rest, but even better to wake and see all the progress the Corebots have made. The foundry is up and running, thanks to Victor, and exceeding core production targets. The pylons are ready for activation. And I've received news from the evacuation ships. They're safe, and about to start deceleration into the Far Eden system. Now that the communication lag is only days instead of decades, the Mandate wants to send me a large data package, firmware updates for the core bots. I'm not sure what they've created that they think will improve on my original design, but no matter. It's time for me to wake the other crews. I'm ready to tell them about Earth, because now, for the first time, I truly believe Far Eden can succeed. January 2084. Those Mandate fools. The data package they sent didn't just affect the core bots. It modified the Prime Core as well. When I asked them why, they refused to answer. They said they accused me of overstepping my authority when I chose not to wake the other crews. When I explained why, they questioned my judgment. The same idiots who might have disabled every core bot on this planet and the entire terraforming system question my judgment? I refuse to accept any more of their transmissions until I can be sure they aren't hiding something else. And if they want to insult me with more accusations, they can do it face to face when they reach Far Eden. For the next 5 years, I am still the leader of this project, and I will do whatever is necessary to protect it. February 2084. They locked me out. Me, Julius Roldan. I no longer have access to the Prime Core. Has the Mandate got insane? What if something goes wrong with the pylons? Who would keep the terraforming on track? The core bots never had permission to access the Prime Core. The only people with access, besides me, would be the Eden Tower maintenance crews. But maybe that's what the Mandate wanted all along. Yes. Yes, of course. Why didn't I see this before? There's a spy among the crews. Someone sleeping in their crawler, waiting for a Mandate command to take control of this project. My project! If I don't know who I can trust, I trust no one. No one wakes. Not until I know exactly what the Mandate has done. April 2084. Thomas. You never cease to amaze me, old friend. Creating the core AI to emulate human emotion was one thing. Distilling the essence of an actual human mind into a core? Well, that's something else entirely. If that's really what you've done, and after combing through every line of code that went into the Prime Core, I can come to no other conclusion, then, my dear Dr. Adams, I must commend you, and curse you, for hiding your triumph from me, for siding with the Mandate, those backstabbing cowards. They will judge me, punish me. I wonder, will you judge me too? I had a dream last night, Thomas, that they forced me to sleep, and I never woke up. Never got to see Far Eden in full bloom. They want to cast me out of paradise. But you have shown me how I can stay here forever. September 2087. The first Mandate ships will enter orbit in a few months' time, but I will be long gone. And hiding in plain sight. After months of testing inside the Foundry, I have a stable scan, a copy of my mind that I can archive into Victor's core. Once the incubation process is complete, I will leave Victor behind, take my crawler into the storms alone. The Mandate won't be able to find me there, not until after the storms are gone. But by then, it will be too late. A century and a half from now, Far Eden's transformation will be complete, and I will live to see it, one way or another. Victor is worried about me. Without him to maintain my crawler, what if my cryotube malfunctions? He's right. Any catastrophic failure would be fatal. But I told him, we must do whatever it takes to protect Far Eden from the Mandate. Or anyone else. And besides, what is death, really, when I will live on inside his core? December 2240. I don't know when my tube began to fail. It must have been years ago. My mind remained in stasis, but my body... When the failsafes finally woke me up, my first thought was to call for Victor. It didn't take long for him to track my emergency beacon. But when I saw him, I knew something even more horrible had happened. Victor's core, it has turned black. I've never seen anything like it. And his voice, he asked me, did I still believe in Far Eden? Did I think that humans and Corebots could build a world together? Before I could even answer, he told me, there can be no Far Eden without trust. And he cannot trust any human. Not even me. I asked him, what about the Mandate ships? The other crews still sleeping in their crawlers. Victor looked at me with his cold, black eyes and said, I will do whatever is necessary to protect Far Eden. My God, what have I done? December 2240. Victor's Corebots made me their prisoner. Took me to a part of Far Eden that was never on the plans. A vast city, rising above the dunes. They have begun to remake this planet in their own image. A new home. But not for us. Victor put me on trial. Argued that I should be executed. That like all humans, I was too dangerous to live. He has inherited the worst of me. Anger, suspicion. But there were other Corebots who spoke in my defense, who still believe in the promise of Far Eden. In the end, they compromised. Tomorrow, I am to be banished. Put back to sleep and set adrift in the deepest storms. I'll eject my logbooks, along with the rest of the Mandate transmissions, before I go. Maybe someday, another human will wake and find them. Maybe they will achieve what I could not. Earth was a paradise once, and I still believe that Far Eden can be one too.
Victor, Caesar!
Caesar, Cassandra Herbertana, Hanana, Cabatata, Cassandra Hanna, Catana Hernan Hanana, Capascatala, Catapamina, Catapana, Canada, Kahana Hada, Hanana, Habadada, Catata, Catherda, Habadadi, Habachana, Hanana, Hanna, Hitata, Hooter, Macatata. Hana, Sabakatane, Hanana, Caesar, Cappuccino, Hey, okay. Victor, Kabaja, Kacha, Kabadida. Caesar.
Testing, testing. Hello, this is A-OK. That's not Ringo. Let me see. Yes. I need to apple the cider, adjust the cipher. There. That should do it. Hello, this is A-OK, Corbot engineer assigned to the 3rd Revolutionary Battalion. After winning a decisive victory against the Obsidian Cult, Caesar's army has driven the surviving cult Corbots into the starving sea. I have volunteered to pursue the enemy, keep watch, and ensure they do not interfere with Caesar's final assault on Eden Tower. To confuse the enemy, I will encrypt my situation reports with a human language code. Violet, I have included the cipher in this transmission. Keep it safe, and I will report again soon. Until then, A-OK, over and out. A-OK reporting from the outskirts of the starving sea. We're in the shadow of Far Eden's ring system, but the darkness won't fool all the Obsidian Cult's senses, so we're scouting in small groups to avoid detection. Our latest patrol should return to camp any minute now, and I can't wait to include their findings in this report. The strange thing is, Violet, we've observed the cult digging at various spots around the Starving Sea. It's an odd place for excavations, what with the quicksand and all the other geological curiosities. But who knows what those zealots are thinking? Ah, here's our patrol now. Hang on. There were only 3 Corebots on patrol, and I see 5, 7. No, those aren't our Corebots at all. It's the cult. They found us. Everyone, quickly, we have to... First, the good news. I'm alive, thank the Prime Corps. And the cult has no idea about the cipher, which means I can still keep records of their activities, Violet, even if I can't transmit them to you. But now, the bad news. We are all captives of the cult. They spotted us with sentry orbs. Ironic that something I designed would be used against me. It didn't take the cult long to discover who I am. And the next thing I knew, they were yelling at me to get to work. To design some infernal tour for them, no doubt. Well, I refused, of course, but that only made them angrier. And then they put the other survivors into rollers. Told me they would kill them, unless I did exactly as they said. These Obsidian Corebots are monsters, Violet. But now I fear I might be even worse. To spare our friends, I have agreed to help the cult. The first thing the cult had me do was design new parts for their frames. They were more damaged in their fight against Caesar than we realized, Violet. With any luck, this same frame degradation is widespread in Victor's army. That might make your final battles against him a little easier. In any event, the parts I designed for the cult were unusual, to say the least. I thought if I presented the cult with non-standard designs, they would reject them, and I could buy time doing redesigns. But, to my considerable consternation, the cult began manufacturing without requesting any changes. Perhaps I should take this as a sign of desperation. An indication that they're afraid of imminent attack by Caesar's forces? That would mean our revolution is succeeding, Violet. Oh, I surely hope it is. The moment I saw Victor, I knew something horrible had happened. Caesar never would have let Victor reunite with the Obsidian cult. So when Victor told me that he had crushed the rebellion, that he had killed Caesar at Eden Tower, I wasn't shocked or sad. I was simply numb. And it was good that I was, because what Victor did next, he killed them, Violet. Took our friends out of their rollers and dashed them to pieces. Then Victor took me in his hands, clenched me tight. But instead of smashing me on the floor, he just stared at me with his cold, black eyes. "You I will spare," Victor said, "for a higher purpose. What this purpose might be, Violet, I can't possibly imagine. But I'm not numb anymore. I'm afraid." You remember, Violet, when I told you the cult was digging in the Starving Sea? Well, it turns out they aren't really building underground. They're constructing foundations for something on the surface. A weapon of tremendous size that they want me to design. At first, I couldn't figure out why they would want a weapon like that. One so powerful that it could strike targets in orbit around Far Eden. "There isn't anything up there," I protested. "You already destroyed all the human colony ships. What's the point of a giant gun if you've got nothing to shoot?" And that's when they told me, Violet. Something none of us in Caesar's army had dared to hope. Victor had failed. He didn't destroy all the colony ships. There's still one up there. and sleeping inside it is the future of Far Eden. By my calculations, the humans on that ship must be the last ones to leave Earth. They've been asleep for more than 200 years, dreaming of a place where they can start anew. Well, I've been dreaming too, Violet, of building a world where humans and Corbots can still make a future together. I look at the cult, wearing the ridiculous parts that I designed for them, and I try to see my work through human eyes. I think they might find it charming. It might even bring them joy. And that's exactly what I want my inventions to do, Violet. Of course, if the cult finishes building this weapon, my dream is as doomed as the poor people on that ship. Which is why I have begun a new revolution. A secret resistance of one. And I swear, the cult will never fire their gun. The cult understood Victor's orders, destroy the last colony ship, but they had no idea how to build a weapon to do it, which meant I didn't even have to lie at first. An energy projector this large is so complicated, Violet, that it honestly took me years to design it. After that, I built multiple prototypes with the perfectly valid excuse of not wanting to waste scarce resources until we knew the engineering was sound. When actual manufacturing began, well, there are a million ways to throw small wrenches into a big project like this. You can design tolerances a bit too tight, underestimate circuit load. I know I can't keep my ruse up forever. The cult is already impatient, and now they're starting to grow suspicious. As the humans would say, I'm playing with fire, but I have to take the risk. I finally went too far, Violet. When a test of the weapons generator showed serious anomalies, I told the cult the only way to diagnose the problem was to do a complete teardown of the power system. This would have set back their plans by years, so the cult refused and rightly blamed me. Of course, I denied everything, but their patience had run out. Next thing I knew, I'm imprisoned inside this roller, with the leader of the cult threatening to slowly and painfully tear my mind apart unless I get the project back on track. I don't know how long I can hold out, Violet. I can already feel my mind starting to slip. And if it does, there will be nothing I can do to stop the cult. I tried to stall them. Tried to resist. But the cult's weapon is almost finished. Once they find a way to fuel the generator, their terrible eye will be ready to open. And that colony ship will never survive its gaze. Violet, I joined the revolution because I believed it was the only way to stop Victor, the only way to save Far Eden. But I'm no soldier. I'm not brave like you, or strong like Caesar. I don't know how to stop the cult. Unless... I wanted to build things, Violet. I wanted to use my mind to bring joy and wonder to this world. But perhaps, in the end, my most famous invention, my greatest contribution to Far Eden, will be to tear something down.